You're watching Crypto Insight. My name is Lane, and we're doing a quick and dirty breakdown of the crypto market as a whole, and then we're going to look at the top 10 cryptos by market cap, do a quick update on our technical analysis with price targets to help you navigate this market easier. We see that Crypto Bubbles is giving us a pretty good green day today. Shout outs to Hex, Dash, FXS, and Lido Finance as being big gainers today. Top gainers this week has been Singularity.net, wow, 134%, Baby Dogecoin, Fetch AI, Render, The Graph, Immutable X, Optimism, Shiba Inu, Loopring, and Phantom, and finally FracShare. Top losers have Aptos coming in at negative 17%, followed by Solana at 11%, followed by Internet Computer, Radex, Monero, Axie Infinity, Sandbox, Decentraland, Trust Wallet, ApeCoin, and Leo Token. Also, without naming them, here is a list of the top gainers and top losers for the past 7 days overall, outside of the top 100. And if you haven't noticed, AI sector is on fire. Another sector you want to pay attention to, this is some straight up alpha, liquid staking tokens. Put those coins onto a watch list and watch them carefully. Jumping right into the market, the biggest concern that I have today is for the dollar, the DXY, because when the dollar goes up, Bitcoin becomes very unhappy. When Bitcoin's unhappy, our altcoins are unhappy, and we just don't want a big unhappy family. We want a happy family. So we're hoping that the dollar will get rejected at this area and come on down and make us all happy. But the dollar has currently broken out bullishly with bullish indicators and everything on this falling wedge pattern. If we do break above this level at 104, we're going up to the top of this range. Not good for Bitcoin, not good for the stock market, definitely not good for altcoin. Definitely trade carefully as the dollar is going up. Keep an eye on that. Next concern I have is the ES1 S&P 500 E-mini futures. We follow this because Bitcoin trades along with this on Wall Street. This is what the big money is doing. So following this can help you trade Bitcoin, which in turn helps you better trade altcoins. So we have this rising wedge pattern, which broke to the upside, which is normally great if it catches support and does not fall back into the pattern. Then you can get some huge moves, and a lot of people are very bullish seeing that. But today, what happened, we fell back into the pattern. Warning sign that I've been looking at has a very strong possibility to drive us down to the bottom of the pattern, which this pattern has a 68% chance to break to the downside, which will make us all feel very sad and very lonely as we see our Bitcoin and altcoins just kind of dwindle down if this happens. Safeguard yourself. If these signs persist, you might want to make sure you have some tight stop losses to save your butt. Next up, we take a look at Bitcoin dominance because this affects altcoins too. And so we see that Bitcoin dominance has dropped here, which means that altcoins started performing a lot better. Now we went a few days where we gained in dominance, but we got rejected there and we're coming back down. So that's good for altcoins. More than likely, we're going to test this 200 EMA, and we have to watch this closely because if Bitcoin dominance gets a bounce up, this may be the point where you want to take some profit into Bitcoin and stack your sats. However, if we do get a bounce there and start heading to the upside, alts will suffer and you will see more money going back into Bitcoin. So very important to pay attention to this. Final metric that we'll look at before we actually get into Bitcoin and the altcoins is total 2, which reflects the total market cap of altcoins minus Bitcoin. We see that we're in a rising kind of broadening wedge pattern, normally a bearish pattern, but we did find support here, got a bounce, so we're headed back up to this area here. We're looking about 23 billion possibly to be coming into altcoins over this next week. That's a good sign. Bitcoin is still hanging on the fence. It has not decided whether it wants to go up or it wants to come back down or retrace this lower area of the breakout, which it does have a good chance to do. It broke out of a falling wedge pattern, and this does have about a 62% chance to come back down to the breakout area before moving up to its measure move, which would be right around 26,252. Now, notice that our indicators are moving to the downside. It is getting tired. Ichimoku cloud's getting thick. What we're more likely to see is some sideways trading and then maybe a capitulation to the downside. We'd be first looking at this area of about 20,293, 20,300. If that doesn't hold, we'd be looking at this area about 19,300. If that fails, we would be looking at this trend line, which could bring us back down to about 16,400 in that area. So keep this in mind, but it appears that Bitcoin is starting to get a little bit tired and we do need a healthy retrace so that we can make a higher low and then in turn make a higher high, and that officially puts us into a bullish market. Very worthwhile noting is that on the daily, we're getting ready to have a golden cross for Bitcoin. Very positive sign, usually brings a lot of money in. Ironically, however, on the weekly, we're facing a death cross. And so you might hear a lot of talk about that, but if you look closely, you see that it is starting to turn a little bit. And usually these are very delayed and the move has already happened as far as the weekly goes because your moving averages are lagging indicators. I'm not as concerned about that, and especially it has not actually crossed yet, but we'll take that in consideration. The biggest thing that we need need to see on the weekly is for Bitcoin to get above this 200 moving average, and that would put it about 25,000. If we can break that area and hold it, we do have more room for some upside. Checking out Ethereum now, we see that it's been holding its level pretty well, but it is getting tired. Indicators are getting tired. MACD is getting ready to roll over. RSI has already come down a little bit. There is still some bearish divergence there, which has been very slow to play out. Prices moving to the upside. RSI, the peaks are moving to the downside, and that usually spells downside action, often a change of trend. However, we're staying strongly in this pattern, which is also a slight rising wedge. There is a possibility to break to the downside. Targets would be at $1,554, $1,487, and then of course this 200 EMA, which is coming in at about $1,437. Those are all areas that we would hope to see a bounce if we do fall out of this pattern to the downside. However, if we do get lucky to break out of it, flip it for support, we would be coming up to our measured move price target at $1,838. And we get that by taking the width of this channel and putting it to the breakout area. And if we're lucky over the next few weeks, if Bitcoin keeps going to the upside, we do have a definite chance of hitting that. Overall, Ethereum is holding its ground nicely. Next, we have BNB, which has just printed a red dot on Market Cipher. Indicators are tired. They are headed down to the downside. Again, we do have bearish divergence to pay attention to there, but it's been holding very well into this upward channel. Does have a chance to break to the downside. Have to keep that in mind. I do want to draw your attention to this, that we already had the 100-day crossover the 200-day moving average on the daily, and the 50 is getting ready to cross over that as well, and that is a golden cross, and that should bring us more to the upside. Measure move has not been hit yet from this larger falling wedge pattern. That price is at $331. That's the first target that we will hit. After that, we do have another daily resistance at $362, and we could be working our way still up to $400. If we do fall to the downside, we would be coming back to the bottom of this channel, could possibly hit as low as $258. However, I am looking for a bounce somewhere around $284 should that happen. XRP, while like the other altcoins that we see some tiredness in our indicators indicating some downward action, looks like we're going to come and retest this 200 moving average, and that would be about 39 cents and a half. If we can stay in this pattern, which actually technically is a bullish pattern, has a higher chance to break to the upside than to the downside, we could get some definite upside action from there. Only concern is with this thickening Ichimoku cloud, there is a chance that we could actually gravitate into that and come back down to about 37 cents, maybe down as far as 34 cents. However, breaking up to the upside of this, we would hit our first target at 42 cents, our next target at 43 cents, and we do have a bigger target at 46 cents. If we consider this to be a bull flag, there's even a higher target, which could bring us to this level just right under 51 cents. However, we also do have another take profit target in that area, 50 cents. When you get a bunch of targets in the same area, that's some good confidence that we do have a chance to get up there. So overall, XRP looking fairly strong in my mind. Just be cautious if we do break out of this pattern to the downside. Cardano, or ADA, is in a similar situation as to the ES1, as it had a kind of a cup and handle type pattern, and the handle actually turns out to be a falling wedge. Now, this is a bearish pattern, which has tendency to break down to the downside, and we can see that it's flirting with that idea. It is struggling to maintain this 200-day moving average, and that's a big deal. If we lose that, definitely expect more downside, maybe a hiccup here at 37 cents, but I would be definitely looking 33 cents down to 32, maybe even down to 31.5 cents for Cardano. And if we're breaking back into this pattern, these red lines here, if it comes back into this pattern, you can look for it to come back and retest these lower areas, maybe about 25 cents. Indicators are tired. There is also some bearish divergence here as our indicators are going down and price action is going up. Price action is going up, volume is coming down. Those are bearish signs there. So very cautious to see what happens with ADA. Hopefully we can get a bounce here at this trend line, flip it into support, and that would be about 37 cents. If that happens, we can look for 40 cents, on up to 46 cents as our next target. The measure move for this falling channel would bring us up to this price target at 59.5 cents. It's very important for us to keep these levels that we're at. Next up, we have Dogecoin, which also the indicators are getting a little bit tired, but we saw that coming last week when we looked at this. Overall, Doge is still doing good. It did have a breakout out of a bearish pattern, which is a very bullish sign. We're looking to flip this area right here of about 9 cents for support. As long as we maintain that area, we do have a chance to come back up to the higher areas. I would be looking at actually 10.5 cents on up to 11 cents should we maintain that level. Indicators just need to chill out a little bit. We do see on the daily that we're flirting with getting across here of the 21-day moving average crossing the 100. Now that's bullish, but now they are starting to turn down a little bit. I do think that they will still cross, but this might be an area for a pullback. Someone attempting to add to their bags might add a little bit more Doge at 0.088 cents as long as this area holds. You definitely want to have your stop loss set so you don't get caught on the downside should it not hold. Again, MATIC is still chugging along. It is still in a bearish pattern, but it's trying to break out to the upside. Now it's kind of forming another formation here, which is a rising wedge, and those are bearish as well. What we're really wanting to look for is see if we can break out to the upside of this pattern. If that happens, very bullish. We got higher targets. It will be moving up, possibly fast. Ichimoku Cloud looks like it could be some fast movement should that happen. However, if this level does not hold, we'd be looking at coming back down to this area about $1.07.5. There is also a danger that we could break to the downside from here. If that happens, we're looking at coming back down to this red line area, bottom of this upward channel, and that would put us in the area of about 86 cents. So we don't want to see that. We really like to see these levels hold, but if they don't hold, possible downward action. Indicators are kind of tired. There's some bearish divergence. However, the MACD is still going strong, starting to wane off just a little bit, so we could see some curving there of the signal lines there. OKB is still marching on bullish, just like we thought that it would. Does not care about bearish divergence. It is breaking bullishly out of a bearish pattern, meaning that it's getting ready to take off. These targets at $53 and $57 are starting to look more and more realistic and very possibly even higher. But the current measure move that we just broke out of does take us up to that $52 area. What a strong project. Wish I had some. Solana has just been struggling with this area of the 200 EMA. It cannot seem to make it up above it. It is starting to show some weakness here, and it looks as though it is going to break down to the downside. Let's take a look a little bit closer on the 4 hour to get a little bit more information, and we see that we did break out of this pattern. It's doing a bearish retest. This pattern is coming down now. The only saving grace that could happen for Solana is if it breaks back into this pattern. We don't want to throw that idea away because we do have some bullish divergence here on the 4 hour. So it's possible that we could break back up into this pattern. If we do, that's very bullish. Take us back up about $26. And if we can break out to the upside, finally flip that 200 daily as support, then we could see something good going on. But this is a bearish retest at the moment. If it does not break back into that pattern, we're headed down. And typically that would mean to the $21 area, maybe even lower. This usually does come back to the bottom of the pattern, which could be as low as $3. Hard to see that right now, but it's very possible if price actually does get rejected here. It's not going to be pretty. We could take a conservative measure move for that for a target, and that would bring us down to about $17.15. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Polkadot has been ousted by Shiba Inu. Isn't that sad? But I'm going to cover Polkadot anyway. But let's go ahead and get on with Shiba Inu, checking it out on the daily. It has just been on a tear. And so what we see for Shiba Inu is that it has made an Adam and Eve double bottom. Now this area is our neckline. So price should be coming back up to this area, and we could see some rejection. So 0.0000177 would be our target. We're currently sitting at 0.0000143. Definitely still some profit to take there. It may take some time for this to play out, but there is a measure move from this. It will take us up to a very nice level of 0.00027. That could, from its very point where it is right now, be an 86% profit from this trade. Indicators are still looking strong. Money flow is coming in. VWAP starting to come down a little bit. Getting ready to put a little red dot in there on Market Cipher. There is some bearish divergence there. If there is a pullback for Shiba, some good places to look to try to get in are decimal 4 zeros 11.5, decimal 4 zeros 12.6, and decimal 4 zeros 14. Those are some good areas to get in if you're trying to add this to your bag and it does a pullback. This is a very bullish pattern. We've seen a lot of altcoins in this and they've taken off fantastically. Shiba should be no different, and this is why I just propelled it into our top 10 category. DOT, like all the others, getting tired on the indicators here, does have some bearish divergence there. We could see a breakout to the downside, but has been holding above this 200-day EMA very, very well, and that's at $6.38. If we can stay above that, we do have a chance to continue up, at least up to about $7.30, somewhere through there. See if we can flip out of this pattern. If this is a bearish pattern, chances are that it breaks down. It does have like a 32% chance actually to break to the upside, so not out of the question. But if we do break to the downside, could be looking at $6.20, could be looking at $5.82. That would be a great place to add this to your bags. We still do not have that 50 crossing the 100 EMA on the daily. Now, if we get that over the next few days, that should bring some more money into this, and we should see some more upside. However, there is also the chance that we fall out of this pattern, come back down, retest these lower areas about where we broke out of this huge falling wedge pattern, which has a very sizable measure move that we're not close to yet. But you could pick up DOT possibly in that situation at $5.15. Excellent in my book. This is one that I am definitely holding for a long term. And just to take a quick look at some of those bigger targets that we're looking at, we're seeing DOT slowly working its way up to $8.82, $9.13, $9.47, and eventually up to $12.72. Just take a little while. There has been a lot of development on DOT, and that's a very good sign for this project. So I expect to see it back in the top 10 before too long. If you appreciate the information that we shared with you today, hit that like button, help the channel grow, help this to get out to more people. My name is Lane, and you've been watching Crypto Insight.
Greetings to the crypto community. We are pseudo-anonymous. We are here to smash that like button. We believe this content needs to reach more people like you. We are watching. We are listening. Most importantly, we are liking and subscribing. We are pseudo-anonymous. Expect us.